which leads us to our defense, Will. Uh, Bobby Wagner had 10 tackles. So,
Hey,
and 3 tackles for loss. And as a team, we had 8 tackles for loss. And I think that's the positive portion of the defense.
I got a positive. I got two
Had a pass
positives.
rush. Our
Yeah,
pass rush was good. We couldn't get him down, but we were pressuring. Okay, what you
yeah.
got?
And it was who was pass rushing. We were getting interior pass rush with Payne and Allen. That's the part that I really liked.
Yeah.
It we've wanted to see them do more. We've wanted to see them penetrate a whole lot more. And they're not just being Fat Stubblefield and Fat Wilkinson, from years ago that just stood there and clogged the lanes right there. And so I enjoyed that part because obviously I think if you can get interior pass rush, that's only going to make it harder for a quarterback that could give you a chance in the DBs, but also then it'll give your outside guys a chance. So I love that they were being disrupted, and that was a change that the coaches said they were going to bring in. So that's kind of that is a positive there. Like they instantly said, we're not just going to be running from the outside, chasing Montez Smead at the quarterback. We want some interior push. So I like that. I also saw Jamin make a splash play as a tackle. He's backing up Cleveland Farrell, and he made a play. I was like, it's small potatoes. We don't have a lot to talk about positive-wise, but that was great to see his progression out there. He's playing. He's active. That's a big thing. And there's ultimately with that pass rush, though, is we got to finish. So many times they got their hands on Baker, and he would, run out of it, and he'd make a play. It's like we had a chance to have a better day defensively. And this secondary, they need you to make these plays right now.
Yes.
They can't cover it. So those are my positives. I don't know if you got anything else before we get into the obvious negatives.
We held them to 3 of 5 in the red zone.
Hey, okay. So when they got there every trip, but we didn't give up touchdowns. Okay, good.
Yeah. That's about it. There you go. I will shout out your boy. I will shout out Quan. Quan Martin had 9 tackles, 8 solo, and that's a double-edged sword because it's positive because he's your boy showing up like you said. But if we know he's the last line of defense. So if he's making, and he was second in tackles, if he's making all the tackles, we see what's happening. In that second half, let's go into the negatives. That second half, well, look, that first half, that's my list, my last positive, that first half. I actually thought, going back and watching, with how our offense was only had that 1 touchdown and was missing field goals and everything, they kept us in the game. They were holding Tampa to field goals. They were providing the pressure. And even you look at the touchdown to Mike Evans, the first one, I won't say a lot about St. Jude's, but he was right there. He tried to turn his head around. He had his hand. That was just a pass where the quarterback and the wide receiver are on the same page, and they were just insane. You can't do anything about that. But like you talked to me about, there was many other times where you're looking at him like, what are you doing? And I get it if we're talking scramble drill because holding your coverage for 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds with these elite receivers is going to be difficult for any team. Yeah. But this is even on plays where he's dropping back and he's right there. You see the route coming and you're not, what are you doing out there? So part of me, we already know this is bad because you and I have talked about that was something we were extremely concerned with. One of my keys to victory was our front 7 has to get to Baker and disrupt him. We were able to disrupt him, but he was still able to break out of there and either run or get the passes off. And it stunk. It killed me because we knew what was coming. And then there it was right in front of us.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, you're kind to shout out my boy Quan, but he was the best of a bad bunch,
Yeah.
And even the rookie who had a great training camp did not have a good debut, in his first game. Sanders still, he gave up that touchdown and, he gave up other catches and him and Quan had the FUBAR where no one covered McMillan. And so he was wide open, so yeah, I mean, as we've said, our concern was, could we stop the wide receivers? 14 catches for over 170 yards. The answer was no. We gave up 6 catches for 75 yards to a running back, Rashad White. So we got torched for over 250 yards in the air like that.
Yeah.
Like not good. And the reality is we probably have at least one, if not two, different starting corners next season. But we have 16 more games to play with these guys. And it was atrocious. I think 7 of 8 possessions they scored on.
Yeah.
Not going to do it.
Nah. It's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. And to this point, what's Jared saying? Would it be crazy to move Allen and Payne up and down the line to create the mismatch? It's one of some of the things that we thought was going to happen. We thought they were going to do a little bit more of, moving these guys and roaming around. But to your point, they were with that front four, maybe 5 guys. We were getting pressure. We were definitely moving the pocket. But I mean, this is great, and moving the pocket's great, and getting pressure is great. But if you don't get home, and especially if you leave a veteran quarterback that's no slouch, this guy's a former Heisman Trophy winner. If you leave him out there, he's gonna exploit you. And once we got to the secondary, we knew what it was. I mean, once he got out of there, you're just like, oh, shoot, please run, yeah. Because if you pass it, you're gonna torch us. And we said that last week.
Right. I feel you.
So, yeah, nothing positive. And you talk about all the drives they had. They were 9 of 13 on third down. They almost gave up 400 yards total. And I know I mentioned that we both had 21, but that all first downs. But that means we gave up 21 first downs. And in that second half, to your point, Bucky Irving and Rashad White, who, Johnny, I know you said you don't like them going east to west, but they weren't going east to west on us. They were going north and south. And then it was mainly just downhill running us down there. Yep. Don't forget you gave up. But yeah. And the funny thing is, Johnny, you were telling us last week, I don't want a guy that's going to go east to west. He wasn't doing it. He was going north to south and getting us. And again, week 1, got a lot to work on. But we came into this game knowing the problems we were having at secondary. And we got Malik Neighbors and Jalen Hyatt this week. T. Higgins.
It's coming out. It's coming back.
T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Like I said, we got Jalen Hyatt and Neighbors this week. We got T. Higgins and Jamar Chase the following week. And then we got Marvin Harrison Jr. after that. So it's not going to get easy for us in that secondary. And like you said, 16 games with these 2 guys. And I mean, we got to figure something out. And I think the problem that we're having is that we always heard about how great, how Joe Witt Jr. and Dan Quinn really elevated the cornerback play with Trayvon Diggs and Bland and all of them in Dallas. Yeah. So we immediately thought, oh, he's going to elevate us. It didn't come to fruition in the first game, Will.
Not even close. Not even close.